And welcome in, everybody, to another edition of Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon. Welcome in, everybody. Another week, another primetime show here for you here on the Inside Edge Network. And we appreciate everybody tuning in with us. If you spent the weekend, you saw Chad and I here at various points throughout the network. Chad, obviously, on the illegal formation with TK Dandridge, and then Sunday Sports Show with Ryan Mosser and TK. And then, obviously, I was there talking with Papa Moon, having a conversation with Papa Moon about just everything going on musically with me and having a conversation. So, Chad, we are back in the saddle. We are feeling good. At least I think I'm feeling pretty good. How are you feeling?
I feel pretty good, man. Not bad for a Monday, to be honest with you. It's we're one day closer to spring, or mud, whatever you want to call it in Northeast Ohio. It's the same thing. I don't think there's a difference. But
spring or mud?
Yeah,
okay,
that's fine.
Okay.
My yard is a mess right now, but yeah, I'm good, man. Things are starting. It was cold this morning, and that's. I'm ready. I'm ready to be done. But it was like summer bright outside, and it made me think. Pretty soon, in a couple weeks, right? We'll spring ahead, which means we lose an hour of sleep, but we do gain that extra hour of daylight. So that's good. I like that. I like to hear that.
Yeah. I'm excited for some sunshine. You know, I'll be in Texas at the end of next week, so I will definitely think I'll see like 70s or 80s. I've been seeing all my Texas friends and peeps out there post just like the weather, and I talked to my bro Todd Wink, artist out there in Texas, and just talking to him about the weather, and he's like, yeah, bro, it's not too bad. It's like 70s down here. I'm like, 70s, man. Come on.
We're gonna have 2 days here to get in the 70s right now. We're gonna be 35 twice, and then we're there.
Well, we'll have 70s Saturday, I think, 72 on Saturday. But, the thing is, we're going to have, like, rain or snow, like you said, here for the next, like, 10 days. So that's the thing, too. So
right,
keep an eye on that.
I guess the 70s don't reach me up here. It says 68 on my Saturday, but rain all day. So thunderstorms maybe even during the day. So I guess that's kind of cool. I like that.
I guess we share the rain together. We'll share the rain, pal. So
works for me.
All right, cool. Awesome. So let's have a conversation here, Chad. The Cleveland Browns, they dove into some discussion with their offensive line, as they must have hear us talk on the Inside Edge Network throughout main event and our conversations on primetime, and they made a trade for a right tackle by the name of Titus Howard, and now he is our right tackle. He traded him. Now here's the thing. They traded with the Texans in exchange for a 5th-round draft pick, per Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network. Here's the thing. Why do the Browns and Texans seem to trade every single offseason? I mean, it feels like, when you're in fantasy football and you have like your buddies that you know for sure you're going to trade with.
Yeah.
And then there's a few that you're like, I just can't get along with. Okay, the Steelers, I can't trade with you. Like the Bengals, okay, I can't necessarily. Okay, well, I guess we did. We traded Flacco, but typically you won it. And then you have your teams you do, I guess, trade with, and the Browns and Texans seem to be happily trade partners. And I don't know if you're the Browns, how can you trust the Texans after they did the Deshaun Watson trade to you?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Obviously, they trust each other very, very deeply and thoroughly. I have no idea why they're still trade partners. I'm not really sure. I don't think this was a bad trade on the surface. I mean, even if Titus Howard can't stay healthy enough here to play, 15 to 17 games a season, for a 5th-round pick for a guy that graded out much higher than Cam Robinson and a couple other linemen that the Browns have either had their eye on or that were actually on the Browns roster last year. I don't think it was a terrible move, but yeah, I don't know. It is like a little funny that you would keep going back to the well there after being very clearly burned once. I don't know that I would go back, but whatever. I mean, here we are. The Browns are trading with the Texans, but again, Titus Howard. I think it's funny. I'm looking at a quote here from him, by the way, as I'm just kind of scrolling through some of the info on him, and I think I should read this. His quote is, "I wasn't surprised. I ain't mad," end quote. I'm sure he said more than that, but it was like, man, how would you feel if you got traded to the Browns right now? You know what I mean? A little surprised, a little mad.
Yeah, I mean, and you mentioned he got ranked, or was ranked a little bit higher, graded out wise than Cam Robinson. I think he was in mid 50s, I think, from PFF. So I mean, we'll keep an eye on that and just see. But I mean, the Browns need bodies at line, on the line.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's
You
depth.
know it.
I can't. I'm not going to fault any offensive line, any acquisition of any offensive lineman right now. If you trade away an offensive lineman, I will scream into the microphone. But yeah, I'm not going to knock any acquisition of any offensive lineman right now for the Browns. I mean, do what you got to do. Fill the room up with some bodies. Again, we've talked about how this isn't going to be an overnight transformation. We're not going to go from 5-12 or 8-26 over the last 2 years to suddenly 15-2 next year because we pick up a couple offensive linemen here and there. So I just think the biggest thing is like put some warm bodies in there, put some guys that can play a little bit, right? Yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the move. Fifth rounder for Titus Howard, fine, no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he acclimates himself. We're still waiting on the news of Joel Bitonio, if he's going to come back or if he's going to retire, so we'll keep an eye on that too. But it kind of leads me to pose a question that we had on Main Event yesterday, Chad. With the news of Titus Howard becoming the potential right tackle for the Cleveland Browns next year, and the Browns obviously needing lineman help still, what do the Browns do at pick 6? That was a question we were having yesterday on Main Event. I'm more in the camp that, okay, Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate, if they're there, you have to draft one of them, right? Unless you're absolutely in love with Mekhi Lemon, who seems to be a polarizing prospect.
Yeah, suddenly very polarizing, yeah.
Yeah, very polarizing based off, I don't know, just interviews I guess he's had with teams and whatnot. I mean, just whatever. But all I know is Washington and New Orleans draft at 7 and 8. And if the Browns do trade back from 6, if they land in the Caleb Downs situation, Rob Rizicki mentioned yesterday, Arvell Reese, maybe if he was there with the Browns, or excuse me, not Arvell Reese, but Sonny Styles, but Arvell Reese too.
Either one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's fine.
I mean, if you're in that position where you trade down, like at that point you probably are going lineman, I'd imagine, right? And then you're just going to try to find value at receiver. So yeah. I'm in the camp that you have to go out and get the guy. I've watched drafts where the Browns have passed on drafting Julio Jones. I've watched drafts where the Browns have been so certain that Corey Coleman was the next guy. I just feel like when there's two certain guys, in Tyson and Tate, who I think they're both going to be pretty good. Maybe one is going to have a higher ceiling. I mean, that's typically how it goes, and we like to get the better of the two, but I think either one you take is going to be a good NFL receiver, and I think you got to take this sure receiver at 6. What do you think, Chad?
This is, I keep going back and forth on this, and I just keep saying, like, if Caleb Downs is there, you take him. But man, it's like after the combine, and it's not that I didn't know these guys were good, but wow, man, I mean, if Sonny Styles is there, you take him. If Arvell Reese is there, you take him. If and all of a sudden there's a lot more value on the defensive side of the ball than there is on the offensive side of the ball, which I think we knew. I think we knew there was no. I mean, there's one standout quarterback really for the first round. That's it. A couple of offensive linemen that are maybe. Listen, an offensive lineman I think is going to be, unless you are absolutely sure about a guy, taking a left tackle there or someone on the offensive line at 6, I feel like is a little bit of it's an unnecessary reach. I think there's so many guys that are going to go in that top 10 that a lot of teams aren't going to touch offensive linemen. If you're the Browns and that's who you want, I think that's where you have to really, I mean, and I don't know, there's so much steam behind the Cowboys offering 12 and 20 for that 6th pick. And I think if you're going to take an offensive lineman there, I don't know. If you're looking for value at receiver, you do that trade. If you want to take the top receiver, then I think you take Carnell Tate. I don't care about the 4.5 40, by the way. Does that bother you at all?
No, because it really doesn't. Because at the end of the day, there's different receiver blends, and Carnell Tate's never been the guy that we thought was going to be a speedster. The guy's got good hands, can run a good route, and at the end of the day, that's all you really need. I mean, I don't understand.
He wasn't going to run a 4.3. I thought I just maybe being an Ohio State fan, maybe that's what I expected, and I don't know. The national media expected like a Jeremiah Smith type freak and another one,
I guess, but he's always been a different player. He's to classify him, and I'm not saying you are, but to classify him and Jeremiah Smith in the same category, I think.
Yeah.
There's nobody that's in Jeremiah Smith's category. I think right now, even. Ryan Williams over at Alabama. Yeah.
A little last year.
So, I mean.
And that's scary. See, now that's another reason I don't want Tyson. Like, you look at the quarterback situation, it's like, how do you not get Ryan Williams the football, right? Like.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Like, there's reports going around, there's rumors, of Ty Simpson. Could Ty Simpson be in play at number 6? Chad, that's the worst ideal situation, right?
Yeah, don't do that. Not 6. Are you kidding me? Like, I think he'll be there in the 2nd round. I will be shocked if he gets taken in the 1st round. I mean, unless somebody just really falls in love with, I don't know what. It's not like Alabama even has like a huge pedigree for putting quarterbacks into the NFL and being like, hugely successful. I mean, you can name a couple of guys that have done okay. But suddenly now Ty Simpson is a top 10 pick. I don't understand. I don't get that. No, don't take Ty Simpson at 6 or Ty Timpson or him.
Yeah, don't take Ty
I'm one of
Simpson.
those guys. Yeah, if you take
Yeah.
Ty Timpson, nobody's going to show up, so that's going to be bad.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised at this point if Andrew Berry did it. No, don't do that. I don't think there's any other quarterback really that I would take a fly. I mean, that's taking a flyer in the first round. That's wild. I think Fernando Mendoza is a good fit in Las Vegas. I think that's where he's going to go. I don't think anybody. I mean, there have been talks about could the Browns possibly put together a package to go up and try to get that number 1 pick from the Raiders. I don't think the Raiders are coming off that pick.
No.
And I don't think the Browns are I don't think they're in a place to take Fernando Mendoza. It doesn't even make sense. Yeah, you could use a quarterback, but I mean, as much about Fernando Mendoza in the NFL as almost about Shedeur Sanders in the NFL right now. I mean, who knows? I mean, lots of guys have been a number 1 overall pick or the top 3 or top 5 pick at the quarterback, and they've completely. I mean, I guess you could call them a bust. I hate to use the word bust, but their career hasn't panned out, we could say.
Yeah.
So you can still miss. I mean, even though a guy is somebody's got to be taking number 1, right? Doesn't automatically mean that there's going to be success. It's just somebody has to be taking number 1 overall. So I don't think you have to try to get your pants in a bunch to try to go up and get the number 1 pick or anything if you're the Browns. I think they're fine at 6. I think that just you watch the first 5 picks play out. You do not take Ty Simpson at 6. I don't care what happens. I don't care if 5 quarterbacks go 1 through 5 and Ty Simpson is the only quarterback left worth note. Let it go, right? Elsa, let it go. Am I allowed to say that? Probably not. You got to let it go. But listen, no, don't do that. I think depending on who goes 1 through 5, if you're comfortable, if you see that maybe your guy's going to be there at 12, 15, 20, whatever, if it's one of the offensive linemen, then trade back. If the Cowboys are truly offering 12 and 20 for 6, I would take it if I were the Browns.
Well, and you're having a conversation every Sunday with Ryan Mosser about how deep this lineman class is, in terms of you can draft in the second round some of these studs, at guard, and the Browns addressing right tackle today with Titus Howard, and we'll keep an eye on how much that strengthens the Browns line. But obviously, it's a move. The Browns are aware that they need to address the offensive line. It makes me wonder, do you just go out and get the surefire talent? Like, do you just get a stud at 6? If it is the receiver, in my opinion, you have to get the receiver. But if it is Caleb Downs and you just get the defensive star or Sonny Styles or Arvell Reese, I mean, one of these guys, and maybe you do that too. But I think you got to get Jordan Tyson, you got to get Carnell Tate, you got to get one of those guys in orange and brown, and then you can focus on the line. I mean, because you have George Warhop. I brought this up yesterday. Main event. You have George Warhop coming over from Baltimore, one of the most respected offensive line coaches in the 2000s. High praise after Bill Callahan. It sounds like it's George Warhop. And why wouldn't we trust him to shape some of these offensive linemen just like we did with Bill Callahan, where Bill Callahan had mid-round picks and he shaped them to be starters on the offensive line? Like, why can't we do that? I just don't trust the Browns. I don't trust Andrew Berry to find a receiver in the second or third round that is going to be a wide receiver 1 or 2 on this team next year, unless they take him at 6. At 6, you can't really mess up because it's probably the first receiver off the board. You can mess up. You can mess up. But you probably have a better chance of not messing up if you take Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson because they're going to be the first receiver off the board. I get it, Chad.
I confidence in that. I wish I could say there's a better chance of not messing up. But it's the Browns, and it's Andrew Berry, and Jimmy Haslam is involved. And I just feel like, something's going to happen, and it's like we're going to take the wrong guy at 6, right? And I think,
who is the wrong guy, though? Who is the wrong guy for you?
Whoever the Browns take. That's it. No, I'm kidding. No, I just worry that they're going to make the wrong decision, and I don't necessarily know. And this is where I don't claim to be a draft expert. I am not. I can watch these guys play, and I see. I mean, sure, they passed my eye test, but I don't know that necessarily means that it's going to translate to the NFL or to the AFC North or whatever, to the Browns offense, right? I am optimistic in having Todd Monken here, who I've said it ad nauseum. I mean, you're probably getting sick of hearing me say it, but Todd Monken, who can, tailor an offense to a roster as opposed to the other way around. So I do have a little bit of optimism because of that. But I just think there's a good chance. I think you have a better chance of hitting with 12, 20, and 24. I couldn't think of the numbers. 12, 20, and 24 sounds really good to me. That's a lot. That's a good grouping, as they say. So if we're at the target range, we'd say that's a good grouping. Um, I think you have less of a chance of messing up with 12, 20, and 24 than 6 and 24, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I know a couple of guys are going to be off the board, but listen, if you like a couple of those offensive linemen that we've talked about with Ryan Mostert that are going to last until the second round, and if you're comfortable enough as the Browns to say, okay, we've added Titus Howard. If he's healthy, he's going to be a body for us. Maybe Rasheed Walker's still in play. Maybe they know something in free agency that we don't know. And I've heard, by the way, we can talk about A.J. Brown, but rumors are now Howie Roseman, people close to Howie Roseman rather, say that the price is going to be fairly high for A.J. Brown. If that's smoke and mirrors, the Eagles just say, hey, look, we don't want to get rid of the guy, so give us more. Of course, you're not going to say, well, this guy's, his attitude's booty. Get him out of here. You're not going to say that because then nobody's going to, you got to create that urgency. You got to be a salesman. So who knows what the truth is there? But anyway, rumors are that the price will be high for him. So you start to roll the Browns out because where's the position of strength that the Browns have to deal from? Is it the defense? Would they have any interest in Denzel Ward there? Would that matter? Would a couple of draft picks? Or is that what the Browns are trying to do? Are they trying to give away draft picks for A.J. Brown? 5 years of draft picks now. I don't understand that. I don't get that.
Yeah, I mean, they should just take the young receiver. I think they're overcomplicating
maybe. You have him on the
it.
roster for 5 years, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, why complicate it? If there's enough linemen, and we're trusting our guy Ryan Mostert on the Inside Edge Network here to say, there's a ton of talent at linemen, and depth. There's a lot of depth in this draft. And if there's not a standout star lineman, then just take the depth, nail, the picks. And I guess I'd be okay trading back to 12 and 20 if you ensure that you can get one of those receivers. And if that means I gotta,
well, at the very least, I think Mekhi Lemon is dropped.
That's what I was gonna say, but it depends about I gotta convince myself a little bit more of Mekhi Lemon. I like Mekhi Lemon, but I don't know. Yeah, we gotta see. We gotta see. I'm worried about
Concepcion at 12.
Maybe.
I mean, I think he'd still be there. If you're convinced he's the guy, it may feel like a little bit of a reach. He's probably more of a top 25 guy. But if that's your guy, and
I think you would take
plays, then get him.
Yeah, I think you would take Concepcion probably at 24. That's probably where. I think if they trade back, and you see Tyson and Tate gone, you're probably not taking a receiver at 12, more than likely.
Yeah, most likely. I think you're right. So, but then I think that then again, it's like that urgency sets in. It's like, well, now what? Now we've got these 3 picks. We can't mess these up, right? We need a wide receiver. Nobody's touching the offensive lineman until probably the second round. So you can probably go in and get a decent depth piece at offensive line at 24.
Right.
And I say depth piece at offensive line, meaning you can plug them in and they can play from day one, which I think is important. I think when you're the Browns and you need to replace 5 or, maybe 4 now if Petonio comes back, but most likely 4 or 5 offensive linemen, I think you do have to – it's got to be a mix of drafting the best player available and drafting for need, and it's got to be a delicate mix. You've got to really – Andrew Berry's going to have to be on his toes for this draft.
Yeah, and you don't have a ton of cap space. Not to interrupt you, Chad, but you don't have a ton of cap space.
Yep.
And, so you have to make it work. And if you do try to get cute and go back and trade back, and then you're like, well, okay, Tate Tyson off the board, Mekhi Lemon off the board. Now we got to go with Concepcion, or we got to go with Lyman and just hope we can go get somebody through a trade or free agency to add a receiver. But one thing's for certain, you cannot go into the season with Jerry Jeudy as your wide receiver 1. I'm okay. I will be okay with him as wide receiver 2, or starting the year as wide receiver 1 and a rookie receiver making his way to wide receiver 1. But I am not okay with him being there being no changes, no additions. And Tyreek Hill probably isn't coming here. He's probably going back to Kansas City. A.J. Brown's probably not leaving Philadelphia, to be real. And so we'll keep an eye on all that. But the Browns have to draft somebody. And they should just not be the smartest guys in the room and just take the receiver that's there. I mean, you already got his brother here, Jalen, in Cleveland. You might as well take Jordan. Or I'm cool with Cardinal Tate, too. I'm cool with that, too.
Yeah,
but
I get it.
Here's the other question I have for you, because I mean we could talk about Browns, I'm sure, for this entire hour, but we're gonna stop here in a moment. I do want to ask you this. Early on, a lot of names going around: Malik Willis, maybe Kyler Murray from Arizona. Deshaun Watson's still on the roster. Shedeur Sanders on the roster. A ton of other names. Ty Simpson, we just talked about him. If the Browns were to shock the world there, but who should start at quarterback for the Cleveland Browns in 2026 right now, Chad?
Well, it's not Kyler Murray. I don't want any part of Kyler Murray. Listen. There are a just a ton of areas where I'm trying not to make. I was going to say comes up short, and then I wanted to say doesn't measure up, and I'm not trying to make a short joke. I swear. There's just a lot of places where he doesn't really fit this offense, right? It's the AFC North, man. It's cold. It's brittle. It's brittle. It's bitterly cold up here, and I feel like it's not brittle. That doesn't make any sense.
It's brittle.
Peanut brittle sounds amazing right now, but
Ooh.
yeah,
Yeah, it does.
It sounds really good.
It sure does.
Well, whatever. Now I'm hungry, but yeah. I don't want Kyler Murray. I don't think he fits in the AFC North. I don't think he fits in the Cleveland. I know he's an athletic quarterback, and Todd Monken has done well with Lamar Jackson. Kyler Murray is not Lamar Jackson. I think it may be time for Kyler Murray to go play baseball, to be honest with you. He's 28 years old. He's entering the prime. Like, baseball players don't enter their physical prime until the late 20s, early 30s, especially as hitters. Here's a guy, boom, right? Here's a guy who plays the outfield, center field, fast guy. Maybe he calls Oakland and goes, hey, how are those draft rights looking? Do I report to you guys? Where do I go? I don't think it's a bad idea for him. I mean, he was a really, really good baseball player. And obviously how long has he been in the league?
Since 2020.
Yeah, 7 years off of baseball is going to be brutal under hand-eye coordination. But typically that's kind of like riding a bike. I mean, you can pick that back up. He's a good enough athlete. Maybe he can stay baseball healthy. I don't know. And maybe it's a good idea for him to try to go make some money trying to play Major League Baseball.
2019. My apology, 2019. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to keep an eye on Murray. I mean, I don't know if I feel as passionately.
Here in 2019, I mean, what happened? Like, what is it? Just
I know
what happened to him.
I don't know if I feel as passionately as you do about him switching sports, but I do think he needs to change the scenery from Arizona. But it's got to be somewhere probably with a dome, somewhere that at least is a little bit warmer weather. I mean, Kyler Murray's played in warm weather pretty much his entire college/pro career. So to think that he would just go play in Cleveland where there's no dome yet, we're not in Brook Park, it's going to be cold, and he's undersized in a division where, they were having conversations with Lamar Jackson to kind of pivot back to him for a moment. If he was undersized when the Ravens drafted him for the AFC North, and he's doing pretty well, but Kyler Murray a little bit shorter and a little bit smaller than Lamar Jackson. So I don't know. How do you feel? Do you feel about Malik Willis? What do you think about Malik Willis?
Man, 6 games started. I mean, we're sitting at the same point right now with Shedeur Sanders. And I guess the numbers are a little better in that, but he was also in Green Bay, right? He's got 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions for his looks at notes career. That's it, right? Like 4 seasons, and that's all he's got. That's all the experience he's got. Again, 6 starts. He's thrown 155 passes in the NFL. I don't know. I mean, we don't really know anything about him. I really don't know, Eli, what his floor or what his ceiling is, but I think the main roadblock that's going to keep him from coming here is that he and Shedeur Sanders have the same agent. I don't think that his agency would do – I think that would be irresponsible, right, to send him to Cleveland and create that that would be a little bit of a conflict of interest, really, between 2 clients. Yeah. I just don't think that's going to happen for that reason unless it's understood that if the Browns acquire Malik Willis, then Shedeur Sanders is traded the next day, whatever. And then maybe, but then you're right back. You've got question marks in the quarterback room. You don't have any. I don't know. It's like it's nothing but question marks. No matter what you do at quarterback, so not there. But he hasn't played meaningful football in 5 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So Ty Simpson's a no for you. I already know that's a no.
Yeah, no.
So Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders? I mean, that's what it comes down to. We talked about our main event. It's do you put the faith in, I guess, Deshaun Watson, who has done nothing to allow Cleveland to put their faith in him on the field, off the field, whatever.
Or with 1 year left on his contract, right? That's all he's got.
That's what I'm saying. You might as well just say,
"Why would he stay here?"
Yeah, he's not going to. No. You already found out. You messed around and found out if you're the Browns what this contract, what this did for you. And I think you should just try to see what you have with Shedeur Sanders, move forward, and add some pieces around him to see what he can do in a 17-game season and go from there. I mean, it's not at the end of the world if the Browns win 6 or 7 games. We've done that for most of the
year.
Yeah, we've done that for most since 1999. So we can do that for one more year, at least figure out if he's the guy. If he has progression and we're like, okay, it was 6 to 7 wins, but he did a lot better. Okay, now we have something to build on. So
and I'm not saying to tank. It's not. That's not the same thing. I'm not saying that they should intentionally tank. I'm just saying you've got to see what you have in a guy who is under contract for 4 more years, as opposed to Deshaun Watson, who's going to fall off. And I can't see any way that the Browns would even consider signing him back. I mean, unless he somehow becomes the starter this year and they go 15-2 and he throws 55 touchdown passes and 3 picks and throws for 5,000 yards or something. But I mean, it's so unlikely that he would play any meaningful football now at this point in his career. Listen, maybe he can. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, not ACL, but 2 Achilles tears. All the time off for everything else that he has going on, the off the field stuff. It's just a mess, Eli. I can't see him being a viable option here. So I think, yeah, of course, if you're Todd Monken, you're going to say the competition's open, but really right now, the way the roster stands, unless they bring somebody in, it's got to be Shedeur Sanders. I don't see another route. I don't see week 1 coming up and another quarterback being a better option than Sanders. If for no other reason, like I said, just on this roster right now, of course there are quarterbacks out there that would be a better option. But as far as this roster goes right now, I think you have to go Shedeur Sanders because he's the guy that's here and probably has, a higher ceiling than Dillon Gabriel and I think a much higher floor. I mean, again, I don't mean to throw shade at Dillon Gabriel. It just, man, it didn't ever really look good. And I know we talk about he didn't throw as many interceptions as Sanders did, but I mean, he also threw a lot of balls that just went right through guys' hands as well. That didn't get picked. That should have been. And and this is I just think you don't. I think you stand pat because this isn't the year to bring a quarterback in.
We had a
line first and get a receiver.
Yeah, we had a comment before we go to break here. Had a comment come in from Jonathan Brown 227. Chad referencing there. They're not bringing another quarterback in. Albeit that it's draft season. They're not going to let you know what they're doing until they've done it. Exactly. Appreciate you tuning in, Jonathan, and make sure you give us a follow, a like, and subscribe if you want to stay locked in with Chad and I. We appreciate you. But it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on what they do, what they address. I don't think they're going to be addressing it through the draft. So if they don't pick up a free agency, the quarterback's in the room. More than likely, it's either Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders. I lean towards Shedeur. We'll keep an eye on it, Chad. Keep an eye on it. So, with that being said, we're going to take a quick pause here on Inside Edge Primetime. When we come back, we are going to talk about Maxx Crosby. He is disgruntled. The Raiders may have to find a new defensive end. And what does it mean in the state of the NFL where guys are wanting out left and right nowadays? It doesn't seem like the old NFL where, and this isn't a bad thing, but the old NFL where guys have stayed with their team, and the only way you really left is if you sign somewhere else. Now you see it a lot more like the NBA, where it's a lot more trades. Talk about that. Talk about Maxx Crosby. Talk about the Raiders. Later on, we'll talk about the Cavs. Chad and I were going to discuss at the beginning of the show, but I got so excited about the Browns. Later on, we'll talk about my album release. I want to talk about that. That'll be my final thoughts. So we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But we have so much to talk about here on Inside Edge Primetime. That's Chad Bryan to my right. Your left. I am Eli Moon. This is the Inside Edge Network, and we're back right after this. And welcome back, everybody, to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon. We are rocking and rolling. We talked all about the Cleveland Browns in the first segment because the Browns, they just love staying in the news. I mean, today they at least made some news, traded for right tackle Titus Howard from the Houston Texans, fifth-round pick in exchange via Ian Rappaport was where we heard the news. And, we talked about that, the quarterback room, and what the Browns maybe should do at number 6. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that as the draft keeps coming on here. You keep an eye on, and that's you at home, the Inside Edge Network, Inside Edge Net on all the socials. Follow, like, subscribe, all that good jazz, and stay locked in with Chad and I here. We are here with you Monday through Thursday, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Inside Edge Prime Time. We also have Midnight Run with Anthony Alford here, which will be from midnight to 1 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Monday through Wednesday there. I produce that show with AA, so you'll see me from time to time. And then, obviously, a lot of great other programming throughout the network. I also want to give a shout-out to our friend, Allie Rose, and AllieRoseFragrances.com. If you go ahead and use the code InsideEdge20, that's capital I, capital E, 20, all first-time customers get a 20% off your entire order. InsideEdge20 is the code. Great candles, great body mists, just great smells with spring coming up. You open up the window, get the candle going, get the good smells going. Everybody in the network's taking advantage of it. You should take advantage of it too with St. Patrick's Day coming up. You might have the fam coming over. You might want to have the house smelling good. So go ahead and grab an Allie Rose candle. You know, if you're stepping out, you know, I know it's spring and everybody wants to step out where, you know, ladies a nice dress, you know, fellas, you know, you want to just take care of your lady, right? So go out and get a body mist. Let her feel good about herself. Get her a candle. And, you know, while she's out there rocking her dress, she can have the spring aroma of a candle as well with the body mist. So that's my sales pitch to you out there, fellas. And, Chad, I mean, a lot of great stuff here with Allie Rose Fragrances.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always say it. Vegan ingredients, cruelty-free, all-natural ingredients, again. Everything's handmade, right, in the U.S. and Charlotte, North Carolina. She's working really, really hard to make you and your house and everyone you know smell good. So, again, just take advantage of the offer. We have here. My wife is still burning her candle in her office. Still smells amazing. Ran some errands with the kids. Came home, and as soon as I opened the door, I was like, "Wow, it smells good." Even my daughter was like, "It smells good in here." I'm like, "That's the Allie Rose Fragrances candle." So yeah, super proud to help represent her, and glad that she's helping us out here. But yeah, the candles smell amazing. And I'm one candle in to the 4 that I have right now, and I'm super pumped. It's like, it smells so good. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love it. And that is, again, Inside Edge 20, capital I, capital E, 20, Inside Edge 20, AllieRoseFragrances.com. Get your candle, get your body mist, get all the good stuff.
Yes.
All right, Chad. So we're not going to spend a ton of time on this just because we spent a lot of time on the Browns in the opening segment, but we are going to talk about Maxx Crosby here. He wants out of Vegas, apparently, and Vegas doesn't necessarily want to move off of him. Adam Schefter reporting, through the Pat McAfee show that, it seems like Maxx Crosby, as opposed, same with A.J. Brown, are in a similar situation, he was saying. Both teams not wanting to deal their guys. Both teams open to listening, and both teams have to have an offer that they can't say no to move guys that they want to hold on to. It seems like out of the two, however, I'd say Maxx Crosby is more likely to be traded out of Las Vegas. I mean, they haven't been very good since he's been there. I mean, as opposed to A.J. Brown, they won a Super Bowl and is, fourth season, I believe, for A.J. Brown, their fifth season in Philadelphia. They won a Super Bowl now. So, I mean, Maxx Crosby has not shared that type of success. It's very similar to like Myles Garrett here in Cleveland, except for at least Myles has a playoff win. That's something Maxx Crosby doesn't have in Vegas. Do you think Maxx Crosby is going to get traded out of Las Vegas? I know the question more so at the bottom says could, but do you think he is traded out of Las Vegas?
It seems like it's heading that way. When you look at some of the teams that are, and all the teams that have been reported to be keeping tabs on him, according to Albert Breer, it's not surprising. It's mostly contenders. I mean, Dallas. Okay, well, Dallas has whatever. They need some help on defense, and they could be a contender. But Chicago, Baltimore, Buffalo, New England, Philadelphia, the Rams. I mean, it's these. It's Super Bowl caliber teams, and it's not surprising to hear. I think Crosby doesn't want to make this a huge thing, and it seems like most reports are it's out of respect for Raiders owner Mark Davis. He just doesn't want it to be a big public spectacle, but I think he does want to go. The Raiders aren't necessarily, like you said, they're not shopping. I mean, they're not interested in moving on from him, but I think they're going to have no choice. Um, yeah, I think he does go. Although it's an exciting time, right, for Las Vegas. You're getting the number 1 overall pick. You've got, I mean, we're 99.9% sure it's going to be Fernando Mendoza. Uh, could be Ty Simpson. Never know. Probably won't be. But yeah, I don't know. It's an exciting time in Vegas, and I feel like they're starting to turn the corner. I can see why they did.
We lost you for a moment, Chad.
Definitely.
We got it back. We lost you there at the moment there. At the end there, pal.
I thought so. I was just going to say it looks like it. Yeah, they would probably want to keep one of their premier defenders, bring in the number 1 overall pick on offense, and actually have a shot. But by the way, Geno Smith likely available. Any interest in Geno Smith or Tua Tagovailoa, another guy that could get
no?
Okay,
no.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm okay. Let's just take our chances with Shedeur.
Had to ask.
Now, does it feel like I want to ask you this because there is a little bit of an age difference between me and you, not much, but a little bit. I want to ask. The NFL hasn't always been like this. I feel like where there's been a lot of trades, especially in the offseason or midseason, where the deadline seems super active. Do you feel like this has become more of a thing over the last 5 to 10 years where the NFL almost feels similar to the NBA in terms of the NFL deadline you have to watch because there's going to be a ton of moves. The offseason, there's going to be a ton of moves. It used to feel like when I was growing up, I mean, like I said, that's where I'm going to show my age a little bit. But like when I was growing up a little bit, I remember teams, unless they every now and then there was a shocker trade, but unless they signed like a free agent somewhere else, you kind of stayed with your team.
Yeah.
Trent Richardson being traded out of Cleveland was one of the craziest things I can remember growing up. Was like we just traded our first round.
By the way,
huh?
Out of the world did they get a first round pick for him? By the way, that was.
I mean, I don't know, but the fact that we traded at the time though, you had traded what? He was a 3rd overall pick, I think, right?
Yeah, maybe not 3rd. He was up there though. Yeah.
So I mean, but you trade a first round draft pick and. I don't think he was 3rd. That sounds a little too. I don't know. I think he was top 5. But Trent
he was up there. Yeah.
Regardless, Trent Richardson. That was one of the biggest trades. And nowadays, you see Maxx Crosby could be traded. Myles Garrett last season was a big talk. Could he be traded? All these guys.
Was 3rd. Yeah. By the way, sorry.
3rd? Okay. Yeah. See, my memory does not fail me.
But I'm the old guy, so yeah, good job out of you, man. I'm clearly. I gotta take some ginkgo biloba or something.
But does the NFL feel a lot more trade happy than it did maybe like 20 years ago?
Yeah, it does. I think guys are starting to take control of their own careers, their own destinies a little bit. I think you realize that you're really, I mean, honestly, in the NFL, if you're a great player, now with the way a rookie contract is, and then you sign an extension, whatever it is, you've got 2 contracts really, and that's the heart of your career. Really, when you boil it down, right? Like if you're a premier player, you're probably not going to do. There's not a whole lot of 1-year prove it deals in the NFL. If you're a guy, it's going to be, if you're a great player, good player, it's going to be a 5 or 6 year deal somewhere, and that's about the cap of it, maybe 4 or 5 year deal. But you've got 2 contracts to do whatever it is you're trying to do. In the average NFL career, is not very long, Eli. It doesn't necessarily. It's a physical game, right? It's a tough game. Especially for running backs. I mean, the shelf life is very, very short. And I think guys are just starting, it's not exactly the Wild West of the transfer portal in college, but yeah, I think guys are starting to just realize that and realize that time is very, very fleeting. And, it's not about being disloyal. It's just, when you play football, you grow up, you want to play in the Super Bowl. That's the dream, right? You want to play for a team that has a chance to get to the Super Bowl. You want to play for a contender. And I think guys, like I said, they're just starting to take kind of control of their own career, take control of their own destiny, and trying to put themselves in the best situation, all around to make the most money, to, have some success, whether it's individual or team wise. But yeah, I think guys are just sort of, they're more aware of that. Just whatever, like I said, just a little bit of self-care, I guess, going on.
Yeah, and you typically see the NFL, they're making the move before the contract. They Micah Parsons before the contract. Typically, if the guy gets inked, they're going to stay there. Whereas the NBA, you don't see as too much worry. They're able to get off these contracts a little bit. Yeah, maybe not as much now with the second apron, but before you saw a lot more movement. Even if a guy was inked to a big deal, there was a lot more creativity. Not so much the case in the NFL, so it's going to be interesting there too. But Maxx Crosby could be on the move. Hopefully. We keep an eye on that, and we will keep an eye on that. But hopefully, we have some news on that rather soon, and we'll see.
Could be
We'll see
this
what's going
week.
on.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be this week. So
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep.
more episodes of Primetime to let you know if it happens before Thursday night. We'll let you
That's what
know.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We'll beat you. We'll beat Double A to the coverage on it
There you go.
because he'll be on at midnight. So we got him ahead of time.
He's the
Unless
program director. He'll just cut in, Eli. He'll just
Yeah, that's true.
interrupt you.
That's true. That's true. That's true. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick pause, everybody. When we come back here, we are going to talk Cavaliers, and then we are going to have a conversation, Chad and I. Chad is awesome, and listen to my album. So we're going to have a conversation about that, kind of talk about the night. Thank you. And talk about the community, talk about all that, and we'll put a bow on this Monday edition of Primetime. So Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon. When we come back here on Inside Edge Primetime, Cavs talk, music talk, and final thoughts, and then we're out of here. All right, back after this. And welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime here, everybody. Chad Ryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon. This is the Inside Edge Network. Give us a follow at Inside Edge Net on all the socials if you've enjoyed what me and Chad have talked about thus far. And, what the entire network is talking about. Obviously, between sports, mental health, everything in between, entertainment. Just we are covering everything you would like to hear, what you want to talk about, what you want to be part of the discussion on. So make sure you tune in here on Inside Edge Network. Chad and I here with you for about another 10 minutes or so, and we're going to quickly talk about our favorite Cavaliers here in Cleveland. The Cavaliers, they had a rough road trip, Chad. They went 1-2 on the road trip. They lost to Detroit and Milwaukee. They did beat Brooklyn yesterday. It took them down to the final wire, but they did beat them. And So now the Cavs have an interesting 4-game stretch here, right? And I was talking about this yesterday on Main Event, about how, yes, the road trip could be a little discouraging, but the Cavs have a stretch here where they play Detroit tomorrow. We'll be talking about that because they play at 7 o'clock, so we'll be talking about that one here on Primetime. Then we have Boston on Sunday. You don't have another game till Boston. And then you have Philly. We're at home that one. And then you have a game in Orlando next Wednesday. So between now to next Wednesday, you play 4 Eastern Conference teams that are in one way or another in the playoffs. Whether they're near the top of the echelon or the bottom of the echelon, they are going to potentially be a team the Cavs could play in the Eastern Conference playoffs come, April. So, when looking at that, how do the Cavs match up with the rest of the Eastern Conference? How are you feeling so far, Chad? You have the injuries of Donovan Mitchell. We're making sure Donovan gets back to full strength before really bringing him back. You have James Harden. He's back yesterday. Looked pretty good in the efforts yesterday in the Cavs win.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Cavs? Like right now with this Eastern Conference stretch, because I feel like this 4-game stretch is going to be pretty important. You can't necessarily put too much on one certain stretch of games, but I think we're about 20-something games left in the season now, and you're at a point where you got to measure yourself against the rest of the Eastern Conference. This is a bunch of games right now in a pretty quick grouping, right? Like in terms of from now to next Wednesday, find out how do you look against these other teams.
Yeah, I think sometimes we talk about measuring themselves against the rest of the Eastern Conference. I think that's more for fans, to be honest with you. I think the Cavs have somewhat of an idea. They're rounding themselves into having an idea of who they are, who they're going to be, what the rotation is going to look like come playoff time, how the substitutions are going to play out. And, I mean, obviously every game is different, but, you kind of get into a groove, right, with the playoffs. I mean, you sort of have a rotation that you go with. The weirdest thing that stands out to me is how we don't have a game from March 3rd until March 8th. That's why the 5 days off. Yeah. I don't understand that. And I forgot I was going to look around the rest of the league to see if that's a thing. If a lot of teams have 4,
I don't think it is.
It's just so bizarre. I don't know how that happened to the Cavs, but whatever. It's neither here nor there because they need it. We talk all the time. You don't want to have the layoff. Teams get cold, whatever. Blah blah blah. But in the regular season, I don't think it matters as much. I think right now it's probably more important for the Cavs to have that 5-day stretch of no games. They'll be in the treatment room, right? They got Donovan Mitchell, and they're working on the groin, whatever that entails, trying to get him back to whatever in the game shape. I know some people are questioning why he's not playing yet, or how if it's that whatever. I don't think it's smart to play him. Listen, I don't think it really matters right now. You mentioned, like I said, measuring themselves against the rest of the Eastern Conference. I think that's more for fans. I don't think they're going to elevate to the number 1 seed in the East. Okay, I think that ship has probably sailed at this point now. Not that 1 and 2 necessarily nailed that down. It's just the long-term injuries and they're not players aren't out, but it's just the day-to-day stuff, the nagging stuff where you're going to give them time to rest. You're going to give them time to heal. When you're not at full strength, you're probably not going to have another 9-1 or 10-0 run. So listen. That's okay. I think you get into the playoffs. What kind of start they had. I don't think any of that's in their head now, especially with Harden and Keon Ellis and Schroeder here. I think that they feel like a different team. I think they look like a different team. We probably don't know exactly who they are yet. They probably don't know exactly who they are yet. But I think they're in good shape heading into the playoffs. I think as long as you can stay on the top half, I think as long as you go into the 4 seed, I think you feel a little bit better. But at the end of the day, does it matter? I don't know. I mean, we've seen a lot of teams with home court advantage not play that well in the NBA playoffs. So I don't know that it
Yeah,
matters. I think it's all about mindset. It's all about really just knowing who you are as a team and uh, understanding, you're I guess you're the clearest path to a win. I think that's what these next 20 some games are about. Just kind of finding out who they are more so than measuring themselves against anybody. I think it's
that's
just
fair.
more soul searching and finding out who they are for themselves. You know what I mean?
That's fair. That's fair. And they did have an interesting game yesterday. Jared Allen involved again, 20 points, 6 rebounds, an assist, and 2 steals. Because obviously, whenever they get him involved, and I read a stat that he had, I think, the most assists from James Harden after Harden's been here. So in Harden's tenure, going into yesterday's game, James Harden had the most assists to Jared Allen out of all the teammates.
Hey,
So
we talked about how James Harden helps big guys everywhere he goes. I mean, there's another example.
yeah, so very interesting. We'll keep an eye on that. Cavs in action tomorrow, Tuesday at home against Detroit Pistons. Chad and I will be breaking that down because that's a big game. Obviously against the number one team in the Eastern Conference. I know we're not going to necessarily measure every game per se, but we are going to have a conversation tomorrow, especially against a team that we could be seeing for the opportunity to get to the NBA Finals back in June. First time the Cavs would be there since 2018. Chad.
Wow, that feels like a couple of weeks, and at the same time, a whole lifetime ago. It feels,
Yep.
it's weird. It's really weird. I feel like everything, everything really pre-COVID is like that, right?
Yeah.
That year and a half, that I think that messed with everybody's timeline a little bit, just as far as memories in sports, all the bubble championships, and the weird World
yeah.
Series. It's weird time in sports. So
Weird.
yeah, it's odd, but I
Yeah.
can't believe it's been that long.
I know. It's crazy. It's
Here we
crazy,
are.
pal. Crazy. 8 years. We'll see if we can break that streak here this year, and we'll keep an eye on it. Cavs in Cleveland tomorrow against Detroit. Big game tomorrow. So
Yep.
keep an eye on that. Chad, we have pretty much made it to the end of this
Yeah.
Monday edition of Primetime. You have some final thoughts for the people?
Final thoughts. Well, and I guess what we said about the Cavs. Don't measure yourself against somebody else's success. Don't worry about what the rest of your Eastern Conference is doing. Worry about you. Worry about your own playoff rotations. Worry about your substitutions. Just what I'm saying is, take care of everything inside in your own house first, right? That includes everything from your physical health, your mental health. I'm trying to change my diet around. I haven't been eating very well for the past few months. Well, take out months, insert years, and then that's fine. While we're being honest, let's be honest, right? But yeah, I'm trying to instead of reaching for the cookies or the chips, I'm trying to reach for maybe like a fruit or a vegetable. I'm trying to change my snacking habits. I'm trying not to eat after certain times of the night. But yeah, don't compare your successes and your your progress versus somebody else. I think I've even said that before on here, but it's important. I think we all grow. We all kind of develop at our own pace. Some of us get to the finish line in a different way, in a different time, but as long as we all get there, I don't think it's really that, life's not necessarily a race to win, right? Just got to get to where you're going. So it's more about the journey on the way to the destination rather than getting there as quickly or better than anybody, whatever. Just don't compare yourself to anybody else. Do your own thing. Do what makes you happy as long as you're not hurting anybody else, and be true to yourself. That's it.
I love it. Well, my final thoughts are that as of midnight on Friday, February 27th, my new album, Golden Child, is available. It is not available on streaming platforms. It's actually available for purchase, direct purchase, at the Man They Call Moon. You've seen the handle, but that's how you can get it in that handle or any of my socials. You can hit me up. If you have my number, text me, whatever. You can get the link, but it is through the Untitled app. It's $10 for the album, 14 tracks. Great album featuring Papa Moon, featuring my bro Ryan Lang, just featuring the community, and I'm real big on the community. And this album highlights that with like the features and like really the work narrator and I put together here with Chéile, the collective that I'm a part of. We had Mushu, Cliche, Geo perform. It was just a great time. Thank you to everybody out there that came out and rocked out with us. Thank you to Brothers Lounge for the hospitality. Thank you so much for always just opening the doors and being so kind to us. We enjoy our time there. So thank you to Brothers Lounge. Thank you to everybody out there, and just thank everybody out there that's bought the album so far. I've got some sales. Thank you, Chad. Chad's bought the album. So thank you to everybody out there that's supported so far. And we're just everything we're doing is just to keep pushing. We have Texas here March 12th. I'll be at South by Southwest performing there on the Next Wave stage. Shout out to Scott Morris with that. And then March 20th, my festival, Thriller and Texas Festival. So everything, with Golden Child, all the proceeds are, everything is going straight to funding Texas and everything else we're doing. And then we got Moon Bash, my all-day birthday bash. 40-something artists pretty much are going to perform there all day in July. And it's going to be awesome. Chad will be there. Everybody will be there from the Inside Edge Network. It's going to be an amazing time. So make sure you come on out there. But yes, Golden Child available now, my new album. Get with me. Buy the album. Get some merch. Got some cool merch, and yeah, man, that's what I got.
Come on, see us all. I mean, like you said, the Inside Edge Network is going to be there. We'll be representing. We'll be there for Eli. Come see us. Come, shake our hands, talk some sports. We'll listen to some great music, and just like you said, great vibes and some really good people. I think it'll be that's going to be a fun time. Man. I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely, I appreciate it, bud. I appreciate it, and I appreciate all you out there so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed everything you heard so far with Chad and I, make sure you stick around. We're back here tomorrow, 10 o'clock. On Inside Edge Primetime. Follow us at InsideEdgeNet on all the socials. And, of course, stick around for Midnight Run with Anthony Alford here on the Inside Edge Network. So go ahead. Like I said, if you're just now first time, hello. Welcome to the Inside Edge Network. Hit that follow, like, subscribe, and get updated when AA goes live at midnight here tonight. But for everybody here, that's just the two of us. That's Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon. This is Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network, and we are back with you again on Tuesday. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.